Humanity. What is humanity? Whenever I think about that question, that word, I always think about Moonlight. Moonlight is a story about humanity, a story about fear, about being lost, being in love, being angry, being sad, and just being. I had never seen Moonlight until last year, even though it came out in 2016. And ever since I saw it, I have thought about it every single day. Everything from the acting, the cinematography, the writing, but most importantly, the story. The story of Chiron is something that is so unique to me. He is a protagonist that I haven't personally seen before in a movie. It feels like the story isn't taking place from his perspective at times, and with how passive he is, it feels like the story isn't happening because of him, it's happening to him. This story doesn't feel as if it is character driven, at least at first. Chiron has no control in his life or on the story itself. This is a story-driven character. He only navigates in the direction that other people and events push him. He continues in his life having no say, and as a child, you don't always have a say, and you don't always have a voice. And when you can't express how you feel and what you think, you get stuck in fear. But through who might be the most important character to Chiron, Juan, through him being there and caring about him, Chiron is given a gift. Hope. It's the hope that Chiron won't be lost forever, that he isn't different, but he can still be special, that he can be free. Hope is something that everyone can find and lose at any time. And for Chiron, it takes almost a lifetime to fully grasp it, and grasp who he is, to take control. Through the trials and tribulations of being treated like he is different, and being told he is different, he starts to believe it. His perception of himself is completely altered by those around him, those to mean to harm him. Juan and Teresa are the only people who truly care about him and see another person. And then we meet Kevin. Kevin doesn't treat Chiron differently like the other kids, and you can tell that there is some sort of understanding that he has towards him. But through understanding Chiron's differences to others, through understanding his feelings, thoughts, and attraction, this is when you understand why this story is so important. But in a film full of heartbreaking moments, there's nothing as heartbreaking as Chiron asking,
"What's a faggot?"
Knowing that he has heard that so many times, this film to me tells a story that isn't just as simple as humanity. It really dives into what it means to be human, to be a person. And the first chapter of Chiron's life is about what it is to be a child. Those feelings of being lost, afraid, hopeful, and confused. But those feelings aren't just unique to childhood. When we meet Chiron as a teenager, he is still lost, and he has lost. Juan has passed away, and he is still treated terribly and is still stuck with his mother. Not much has changed for the better. I feel like Chiron's story can be applied to anyone, not just people who are directly similar to him. It's such a beautiful story coming from a perspective that isn't explored nearly enough, but I feel that this film perfectly captures what being a teenager feels and felt like for many people, even myself. I know what it feels like to feel lost in the crowd, to be surrounded yet isolated and alone, to feel those moments with other people that are fleeting, because when the laughter is over, when the conversations are over, the negative thoughts and feelings return. I can't relate to Chiron's struggle of sexuality, but from being mixed race and looking a certain way, I can relate to people seeing you as only one thing and trying to define you by it. I feel like this story has so much to offer anyone, but if it's the one thing this film can truly offer, it's hope. Even in the worst situation imaginable, even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you, there is always hope. This movie, this film, this story exemplifies that for me. It shows tragedy, it shows pain, and it shows growth. It even shows how someone can become so misguided because they became something that they didn't want to be, that they weren't meant to be because they were told that that is who they had to be. The overwhelming feeling of wanting to fit in, of wanting to be accepted, of not wanting to be a target. The feeling of wanting to have control, of wanting to have and feel power, of wanting to have a say in your life. The overwhelming feeling that things will never change and you can't escape and you can't be free and that you will forever suffer unless you do something about it. It all adds up. It's our past that defines our present, but it is our present that defines our future. What we do today affects tomorrow, but what if tomorrow is just the same as today? What if tomorrow never truly comes?
Hello? Hey, Black. Chiron. What's up, man? It's Kevin.
And now I have the privilege to talk about one of my favorite scenes in a movie ever. This whole third act is what defines the movie for me. I was already enthralled and completely invested in the film up to this point, but this is just so perfect. No problem throwing that word around. Everything about this is just perfect. The subtlety of the music in the background, creating the perfect ambiance. The quietness of the diner, allowing for the music to bleed through, but allowing us to focus on Chiron and Kevin. The tension of this whole thing is painful, it really is. You have two characters who have grown up so much and changed so much, but so much baggage still hanging on to them from the past. They try to give off these facades to one another that they have moved on and are concerned with the past, but it just isn't true. This scene's simplicity is able to amplify the emotions that we have felt for the entire runtime. The tension of Kevin knowing Chiron's profession.
I'm trapping.
And saying,
"That ain't you, Chiron."
Chiron replies,
"Nigga, you don't know me."
And it is the harsh truth. They don't know each other. At least not who they are now. But you realize that even though their lives have changed, their feelings haven't. And maybe Kevin knows this.
I don't know you.
The tension of this whole film comes with the weight of Chiron not being able to speak up for himself, him not using his voice, his lack of self-expression, maybe even his denial of himself and who he is and how he feels. The whole time through the tension, I just kept thinking, say something, Chiron. Say something. Come on, Chiron!
You're the only man that's ever touched me.
Holy shit. That's relief. That's strength. That's hope. That's freedom. That's love. That's moonlight. That's humanity.
In Moonlight, black boys look blue.
Even if she go away, 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 I'm a classic man. You can be me